So in your kit, you're going to have the ridge line, which is the lime green rope, and you're going to have the continuous loops, which are the blue rope. These are 3 feet long, and this one's about 130 inches long. So we'll do the continuous loops first. There's also 2 tools, a very small thin wire, that's the fish tool for the ridge line, and a bigger wire, that is the fish tool for the continuous loops. Tools that you will need are a sharp razor knife and a good thing to have is an old large knitting needle. If you don't have one, a sharp pencil works. A sharp pencil will do the trick too. This one was broken by one of the scouts at the meeting and it didn't work very well. So, I would suggest, most people can find a knitting needle even at the dollar store. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. So. Oh, and one other thing you'll need is a Sharpie, or a way to mark the... Oh, like 2 more things you'll need. A Sharpie to mark it, and I use a seam ripper to remove the extra threads from here. You can also use a small nail, or you could even use the end of the wire works too. So, okay, well, let's make our continuous loop. So we take a 3-foot piece of blue and we are going to make marks. I've got everything marked out on here for me. We're going to make a mark at 1 inch. And I'm going to use a little piece of chalk here. Oh, not that color. We use a pink one this time. Okay, so make a little mark at 1 inch. I don't know if the camera's going to focus on that. There we go. Okay, 1 inch. And the other mark is going to be at 6 inches. And we're going to do the same on the other end. 1 inch. It doesn't have to be absolutely precise either. And 6 inch. So at the 1 inch, if I get the camera to focus again. No, we don't want to focus today. Okay, at the 1 inch mark, there we go. We're going to pinch the rope and open it up. Then using our seam ripping tool, we're going to grab 1 strand of thread and pull it out. I'm going to turn it over, grab 1 strand on the back side, and pull that one out. And that's just going to taper this to make it easier to fit back through itself. Take our knife, make sure it's a sharp knife. A razor knife works best. This stuff's hard to cut, scissors won't do it. Okay, we're going to cut that. Do the same at the other end. pinch it together. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus here on this. Nope. So when you pinch it, it opens up. Grab a strand, pull it out. And pull it out. Okay. Switch knives. There we go. Okay. So we've got our two tapers. The next step is find our 6-inch mark right here. Pinch it so it opens up a bit. Take our knitting needle. We're going to feed it through the rope, making sure that we're not going through any, we're not breaking any strands. And you should have 4 strands on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then take the other end, feed it through the hole we just made, and all the way through so that our 6-inch mark is through the rope. Okay, so we've got our 1 inch, our 6-inch mark that we opened up. The rope then goes around and through that so that our other 6-inch mark is on this side of the rope. We're going to open this one up. Okay. And we're going to take this other end and feed it through. And what you will get when you do that, if I pull this loop and I hold this end, it's going to lock. Let me see if I can. Okay. So now it's locked off. Now we're going to take both ends, and we're going to bury them back in here. So to do that, we're going to measure it out, hold it this way. This one ends here, so I want to come back about 2 to 2.5 inches past where this one ends. Okay, this one ends here. We're coming back to here. Okay, we're going to pinch it again. Take our big fish tool and feed it inside. Okay, so it's feeding up the inside of the rope. There are more tutorials on this on YouTube. It's kind of a difficult thing to film, especially with this camera, but okay, and we want to come out right at the end. Okay, right where our knot is. We're going to grab this loop, pinch it in here. Okay, so I've pinched it into the end of my fish tool. And I'm going to pull it back. This takes a little bit of wiggling. There we go. And once it's inside, you want to make sure you're keeping this pushed up this way. If you let this stretch out, you'll get stuck. Like that. Okay. Now, we're going to take this and we're going to pull it all the way so that that sinks Okay, so it sinks into itself. We're going to pinch here and see that? And the end is buried. Then we're just going to repeat the process on this side. Measure it out. Add a couple of inches. Put the fish tool in. All the way. Come out right at our knot. As close to the knot as you can. Feed this in. Constrict this and pull it through till this loop is right inside. Okay, and it should look like that. Could be a little bump where they are, but there should be no way that you can pull the string back or the rope back out. It should be completely buried to the knot. And you can do that a second time for your second continuous loop. And then these feed through the end channel of the hammock, and then they'll feed back through themselves inside, and they'll be done. So, okay, that's continuous loop. Okay, now we're going to look at the ridge line. This is a little trickier because this is a thinner line, but it works the same way. When you pinch it, it'll open up. Okay, so first thing we'll do is a 1-inch taper again on each end. We'll mark it 1 inch. On each one. And the other one we're going to do is we're going to mark it at 4 inches and 8 inches. And we're going to do that on both ends. 1, 4, and 8. Okay, now before I taper this, I'm going to open this up, put my knitting needle through, count that I have 4 strands on each side. Put this through, past my 4-inch mark, right there. I'm going to open and close that one. Open up my 4-inch mark. Same thing. 4 strands on both sides. And I'm going to take the other end and feed it through. Pull it all the way through. Make sure there's no knots in this, in the middle. Okay. And we've created our locked Bremel loop for one end. Now we're going to go to this end. Find our 8-inch mark. Open it up. Same thing. No, see, that time I've got 5 and 3. So I'll just move that over. So we've got 4 and 4. Okay, feed this through past our 4-inch mark, which I believe I may have lost because I used chalk and, oh no, there it is. Okay, so past my 4-inch mark, open up my 4-inch. Keeping equal strands on both sides. Now I'm going to take this loop that we made and I'm going to feed it through the hole. Now we've created our locked Bremel on the other end. Now we can take our 1-inch mark, grab a strand, pull it out, grab another one and pull it out. Trim them off. This is the tricky part with this because it's so thin. Use the thin fish tool. Again, these are included in the kit. Look for a little Ziploc bag with these tools in it. They might be a little bit folded up, but you can just bend them straight. Mine have been a little bit abused by 6 weeks of scouts doing this. Okay, so we feed this down the middle. If it pops out, just back up and start again. It will. This is fidgety. This, when you're doing this with the kids, the youth, you have to really help them out. Expect the meeting of doing the continuous loops and ridgelines. Expect it to take a full hour and a half, maybe even 2 meetings, depending on how many kids you have. One thing with the hammock project is you want to just take your time. Don't plan to have it done in 2 or 3 meetings. We went 6 meetings with 9. No, we did 12. We had a couple of ventures join us, so 12 hammocks, 6 meetings. And I would suggest breaking it up so they're not 6 in a row. Kids lose a little bit of interest. Okay, so same as we did with the continuous loop, and if you haven't watched that video yet, watch it first. We feed it in. Okay, now we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other end, and I'll come back to you when I've got that done. Okay, and then we can go through the assembly of the hammock. Okay, so we have 2 matching loops on each end of the rope. Now we can assemble the hammock. Okay, let's assemble the hammock. So to do that, we have, this is the side channel. Got the single seam running down, and the end channels are triple stitched. There's also one more at the very top, just to keep this inside part of the hem from popping out on us. So to assemble the hammock, you're going to take your continuous loop that you tied. It's easier to feed it through with the bulging knot part first, because this is more rigid. Right, this part's kind of floppy. So just open this up. This is your back side. It's your front side. There's a little, you can see where this fold is here. This side there's no fold. So back here, right, there's one flap, two flaps. So it goes in like that. We push this through, hook our finger here, and just feed this through the end of the hammock. I found I taught a couple of the scouts how to do this, and then they just went through, grabbed everybody and gave them a hand. So just feeding it through. Now you've got a thick end and a thin end. We're going to put the thin end through the thick end. I also like to pull this a little bit, and just so that knot, if you pull this end, now we've sunk the knot inside the hammock a little bit. The thin end through the thick end. I always like to make this the inside, so it looks nicer when I'm in the hammock than that end. And that's one side. Now we'll do the other side, and then we'll put our ridgeline on. Again, at the other end of the hammock, you have the exact same thing. You have your inside smooth, your outside with the crease there. Okay. Take the knot. Again, this is our inside, so we're putting this on the outside. Feed it through. Pull this in so that this rotates. You can see that very well. And bury the knot, thin end through the thick end. Now, before I do that, on this thick end, I'm going to take one of these loops and I'm just going to feed it through. Feed this through, pull. Okay, and then carefully I'm going to lay this out. So we don't want to twist the hammock now. We want to make sure I don't know how well you'll see this. We want to make sure that when we get to this end, we have the same smooth end in, this end out. We'll pull this back out, put this over the thick end, thin end through, pull, give it a good set there. I like to hang in the hammock to really set that, and that's it.